selection.
Allegiance need to figure out a way to keep getting these wins because they're on the path towards qualifying for Valencia here. We're in the beginning of week 3. There's only 5 weeks so far in this split, and Allegiance, they've only lost 2 games now. If they lose a third one here, they could start dropping towards that middle of the pack. Keep in mind, only 3 North American teams make it.
Yeah, well, it's a 5-week split. Every game's so important. You just can't afford to really drop many. Soul, Serket, Khepri, Nemesis banned out. The Fafnir will be the selection. I love the Khepri ban, and I love the Fafnir pickup.
The way Wubbin was playing the Khepri this time around was so impactful compared to last week when he was playing the Ganesh. Just wasn't quite there yet. He was getting heavily focused, fired a lot, but this time the Khepri, the more defensive mindset out of Wubbin, helped out Noble in that first game.
Wubbin is a very interesting player. There's not many players at the very high level that operate like this. I feel like this is the level of players directly beneath the pro level where he has a couple of gods where he looks like a fantastic support player. You give Wubbin Geb, you give Wubbin Khepri, this guy will play support for you. On the other characters, I'm not so sure. So I'm very curious to see where Noble goes. Allegiance will take away MLC's Thoth, however, so no cannon for the cannon.
Not this time around, but he has a very interesting god pool, so we're going to see after the second ban phase what they elect to pair up with the Susanoo coming out of Skilledon. Keep in mind, this god, when Skilledon played it for Oxygen Supremacy during that gauntlet, went on a complete tear.
Yeah, Susanoo certainly one of Skilledon's more favored characters. Second round bans, 2 hunters for Noble, Cupid and Rom, and Team Allegiance on their side will ban out 2 solo laners, 2 of Aquarius's preferred solo laners, Herc and Osiris.
Very aggressive solo laners of the Hercules and the Osiris. Balona's yet again for Cyclone Spin. We'll see what option that Noble elect to go for, but the Terra could be flexed into that role if that's something that Noble wants to experiment with. But with the Raven pick, heavily unlikely.
Yeah, the Raven most likely to find his way into the solo lane. Terra, that support player, the Susanoo, the jungle. That's the way it's supposed to, quote-unquote, go. We'll see where these players opt to wind up with everything. We can actually...
Do you think it's Camazot solo and Bologna jungle?
Yes, I do.
Knowing Cyclone Spin, that wouldn't surprise me here against a Raven. So the way any matchup works against Raven is just avoid getting hit by his fists, right? So Camazotz
don't get hit.
Don't get hit. So Camazotz can easily poke from a distance, clear the way from a distance, sustain from a distance, not having to get hit ever.
I think Camazotz is the way to go here. MLC Stealth will be playing this Nox, an off-meta character that keeps... Nobody invites her, but she keeps showing up.
But the way Allegiance likes to play aggressive by penetrating that backline, it's not surprising that we see these defensive option here out of Stealth. Usually, sometimes he'll go for the Nuwa, but Nox is another alternative to be able to protect your own backline. You have the Silence, you have the Root, and then you also have the ability to hide in one of your allies for a couple of seconds.
That shadow is really key here, especially when you have a dasher like Susanoo. Allegiance, will they mess everything up? And it seems like they won't. I almost think Weekend Cyclone should play Jank here. I think that the Camazotz matchup, I think you broke it down perfectly, and we can just, I don't know. I almost want them to play swapping around, but we'll see how it works out.
The thing about Camazotz is that he also has a great presence coming out of the jungle.
Oh, fantastic.
Whereas Bologna doesn't necessarily even lose matchups, despite getting hit by the fist potentially from Aquarius on the Raven. Finding some Scourge hits and the Deathstole proc is good enough to be able to negate all that poke damage. So Camazotz rotating towards mid, towards dual lane, you're finding that surprise gank, and then you can easily dive those towers with your ultimate.
Camazotz starting out here in the mid lane with Met Yankee on the Thoth. The Vampire Bat. A lot of sustain, a lot of long-range damage. The Ranged Assassin. What a strange character Camazotz is.
One of these interesting demigods almost that you can say coming out of Camazotz is always providing that oomph that you really need from a distance here. And looking at the composition from Team Allegiance here, they have a lot of gods that can poke you from a distance. We're looking at Med Yankee on the top. Neil Ma can set you up with that nice hammer stun, and Oceans can make everybody turn into a little piggy.
Well, there's going to be one set of control use on Wowie. Have HP all ready for the Hunter. Not how to use his beads, however, just yet. Nice hammer on the Wowie that time around. Still no beats.
Both dual lanes get their own red buff, but favoring out Allegiance by Neil Ma securing their own purple buff in the process. Looking at a different relic selection as well, as we see Wubbin going for a very early girdle, whereas Neil Ma, respecting the control from Noble, goes into the purification beads. I think he's really afraid of Stealth's control between the Silence Root combo.
With Wubbin with a Frenzy, I mean, we saw what Noble were doing with it earlier on, and really his choice is to just wreck the objectives early on. So I think we're going to see another early Gold Fury where ALG has no idea.
Very possible here, but ALG could also do the same thing with Neil Ma. Once he hits level 5, that Draconic form with the AoE Coerce, amplifying everyone's attack speed, could be a good addition in their side, considering Med Yankee on the top also amplifies those ranged in-hands.
Yeah, that's really the key there is both teams have some sort of amp. Cyclone Spin, just taking it to Aquarius, as you said. He's able to heal up thanks to, well, potions on one hand. You see the chalice built there, but also the interactions between Bologna and Death Toll, and of course the Scourge.
Just not able to really get the better end of it quite yet is Aquarius. Finding a nice little route here, but not going to deter the clear out of Cyclone Spin that gets those AoE cleave in hands. There's a solid matchup all around, and Bologna is one of these gods where she is looking to win her matchup, sure, but at the same time, she doesn't have any losing matchups. So you put Bologna on Cyclone Spin, and you're always going to have a good time.
Yeah, you're just looking to clear the wave and ignore everything else, essentially. That's what Bologna's good at. Just, what are you doing over there? Okay. Just kind of playing solitaire.
Dual lane, though, little different story here, though, but in the mid lane, a lot of action. Nice, aggressive shadow step from Stealth. Even
MLC.
He's feeling himself.
Yeah, MLC letting Skilly know he's not welcome here with the hot taunt after the fact. Got to give it up for MLC. I like to see him. MLC was known as Mr. Nice Guy for a long time. Ultimate out of the Hoi.
Not being so nice anymore as he helps Skilladon get the first ball. Just wanting to clear the wave there was Wowie so he could back on out. I think he wants to finish off his boots very quickly here after he gets his own red buff.
Yeah, I guess that's the go-to. I'm more accustomed to see Hercules ult in the wave, not a Hoi, but all right. When it comes down to it, though, MLC used to be known as Mr. Nice Guy. And, you know, then people started talking about what he's like internally, and by no means am I saying MLC's a bad guy. He is a very nice guy. But we're seeing this other side of MLC, this villain. You know what? MLC likes wrestling. He's turning heel. And I kind of like it. He was he was everybody's good kid. And now he's kind of like, you know what? Taunt. And I like it. I love seeing this out of Brett. I think it's really cool.
But just one.
Just one.
Just the one.
But the full taunt, and I respect that. When you get hit with the spam, that's you're being a hyperactive child. When you hit me with the full VET, I like to see that. Rotation at a weekend. Will he be the taunter? Here's the question.
Overhead kick being used alongside the ultimate from Wubbin. Nice damage.
With that one.
Yankee again. Skilladon with a second kill.
MLC from a distance with that ult. Skilly likely to fall here, and he will. But I liked the accuracy of the Nox ball was hot.
Great use of the root and the wild hunt coming from the rotation out of Oceans there. The purification beads was used earlier on from Skilladon to be able to dive that tier 1 tower. But speaking of diving, it's Aquarius that might be in a little bit of trouble from Weekend, but MLC. Stealth is right around the corner.
Yeah, this is gonna be trouble. Drops to where is it? Drops to Trouble Puddle and gets the combo. But the beads are good enough, and is the ultimate to allow Weekend to get out of dodge.
Just too much aggression here out of Weekend. There was nothing for him to take. I think he was kind of hoping and praying that somebody was a little bit low, like Aquarius would come back into that Soul Lane. So Cyclone Spin pushes the wave in Soul Lane. Weekend is that bouncer that's like, oh, you want to get in the club, you want to get this wave, you got to get through me first. But he had some boys by himself.
Yeah, Weekend was, oh, okay, fine, you can get in the club, go ahead.
So I guess you can cut the line. I'll allow it this time.
My bad. Weekend gets out of there, no harm, no foul.
He looked at the list, and he's like, oh, you're actually on the list. Okay, I'll let you through.
You sound really experienced of getting shut out of clubs, Toli.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See, I'm always on the list.
I don't need a list to get in anywhere. I have the golden ticket.
You're not the... What are you... You are so off the... You've just gone multitudes. Well, you... 6.5. That's how we're going to do this one. 6.5 minutes into this one. Noble still have a higher kill count than Allegiance, but the game, a little bit more in Allegiance's favor. This is how last game started as well, but the objective secure and the objective denial out of Noble was a little bit too strong.
A lot of damage onto both of these junglers, but the sustain from Weekend gonna favor him out. Skilladon just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Beats still on cooldown for 30 seconds. No escape from that one.
Skilladon gets a kill if he's playing Naja there. And that's not me championing the character that I enjoy watching. That's me saying the difference between Skilladon on Naja and the other characters is Skilly seems to be half a page ahead of the rest of his team. And he finds the opportunity and he goes in. With Naja, he's in the sky, and his team responds by the time he comes down. With Susano, especially considering the fact that the character's so damn fast, he's there before his teammates can really do anything about it.
Oh,
kind of like Wowie here.
Wowie got flanked and Wowie goes down. 4 members from Allegiance finding the kill onto that one. This is the Allegiance that needs to show up here. Just going around all the vision out of Noble. Look how many wards on the south side there's from Noble. They just looped around the north and found that easy flank.
Gold Fury started and leashed and started and leashed and started. And leashed.
Well, Skilladon is here. Stealth is around the corner and not playing the tough, but still, Nox still also has that potential to steal with her ultimate.
Yeah, for sure. The Nox generally wants to use the ultimate earlier on in the team fight, but, I mean, sure. Like, that's... You're not always going to get every single piece of text be functional on your ultimate, you know?
Sure, the tooltip is pretty long for that ultimate, but you deal less damage, though, when you do get hit by it, so that's a very important factor to start off the team fight, not necessarily always wanting to use it at the end for the execute, but sometimes it's a good idea to just save it for that point.
I like that one. The pull came out, and Skilly was stunned, so he just sort of sat there getting hit by the harpies. It was kind of funny. I enjoyed it, okay? I thought it was funny.
9 minutes into the game.
I thought it was funny, okay? I thought it was funny.
Very close game here between both of these teams.
It's actually 850.
I like to round.
No.
We're rounding here in the SPL.
9 minutes and 3 seconds on the clock. Wowie's going to jump in to the enemy hunter, force out the beats. Skilladon still here. Skilladon still there. Skilladon gets the kill. Ties it up 3-3.
All 3 kills from the Susanoo in the jungle. Skilladon making the impact. Doesn't matter if he's playing Naja or the Susanoo. He will be there to make the plays.
I've seen him. It's interesting. I've seen him have more positive games on the Susanoo than I've seen him on the Naja, but the impact he makes on the Naja seems to be larger for me.
It felt more impactful, absolutely. But the addition of the ultimate from Wubbin just allows Skilladon to get in position, but Skilladon in a lot of trouble, but not committing to the dive. Wubbin gonna smack Weekend down. Great Typhoon from Skilladon at the tail end of that one.
Yeah, Skilladon helps himself out. I'm sure there was a shot from MLC and Wubbin as well. Wubbin obviously the one to clean up the kill, but I'm sure the control came out as well from his mid laner and his support player. Just good teamwork there for Noble. Not something that we have been accustomed to seeing up until this week. One of the points that we've noted about Noble has been how individually they play. They don't really play as a unit. Well, this game and game number 1, totally very different.
It's so difficult to chase down a Susanoo because the way the passive works, every single time, not only does he have gap closers in the form of the Stormkata and the Jetstream, but when those abilities are on cooldown, now his passive takes into effect, and you're getting 4% additional movement speed. So despite Camisats obviously flying through the air fast in his ultimate, it's just not enough to catch up to this jungler.
What if his passive was Odysseus bow?
What if Khepri had a gun?
Touche. Touche. For those of you that don't know, what if Khepri had a gun?
A little bit of a backstory for that one.
Broke me. You broke me. Skilladon looking to break the solo later, but a little bit tankier than some of his previous options. Skilladon has 3 kills and an assist, and those kills have come on to the Assassin. Those kills have come on to the mid laner as well. 2 for Yankee, 1 for Weekend. So Aquarius, a little bit different on a Robin with a Glad Shield.
This could be a Gold Fury attempt from Noble. We saw Med Yankee poke his head in the solo lane. That's a long travel time from solo to dual lane, but now wanting to pull the trigger considering Oceans was there with Neilma, still respecting the fact that even if that Noble could secure that Gold Fury without having to worry about Final Judgment.
Too slow.
Just, it wouldn't be enough because Neilma and Oceans could easily find some return kills.
Yeah, watch that one. It was, I would have liked the idea, but it was sort of up high, down low.
Too slow.
Too slow.
I like that one. That's the best one you had so far today.
I think that's an insult. It might be. It might be. Cyclone's been defending his tower here, willing to take some of the poke for it.
And that's what you do as a solo laner. Despite being only 3 melee minions, granted it's all Gladiator, you just poke your head around the corner trying to deny the goal, but trying to deny the life out of Cyclone Spin with the rotation from Skilladon. Finding the kill.
Love it. Love it. Aquarius plays like he doesn't know your name. And I think that's why I love watching him play. He's on the front door of Cyclone Spin like, let me in, let me in. And nobody, okay, fine, tank your minions. And then he goes into the jungle just to immediately come back. Those type of mind games, that's what the solo lane is all about. That's why I like watching the solo lane, and that's why I like watching this Aquarius guy.
Great escape from Med Yankee dashing on backwards. And going back to Aquarius's conversation here, yeah, he's always been so confident despite his short time in the SPL. He took what he learned in the Challenger circuit for so long, additionally to being able to scrim against some of these SPL teams, because despite being a Challenger level team, that doesn't mean you don't have SPL experience, because sometimes during practice time, teams will want to scrim with Challenger circuit teams. They want to be able to see what some of these teams are doing, to be able to bounce ideas off of each other. Dating to my days back with Eager, when we first started off, we didn't qualify to the SPL right away, and we were in the relegations, and we still got an opportunity to scrim with all the SPL teams to be able to still make the necessary improvements for not only ourselves, but even the SPL.
And there's also different metas, and different meta doesn't always mean best meta. Now, people will think that however the SPL plays is the most efficient way to play, and most of the time that is correct. But whatever meta seems to be circulating around various other regions or the Challenger circuit, like you said, it's not necessarily wrong, and it's just different. And playing against different types of strategies, different types of picks, and different type of metas is just as important.
It's just all about ideas and how you execute these ideas, because what works for one might not work for the other. And Noble now feeling very confident. Girdle popped.
They're going for it. They're going for it. The ultimate comes down. It goes all the way to Noble. And trouble for Neil Maz. He turns into the dragon. He might be low. Skilladon in trouble. Here comes Weekend, looking for at least one here. No!
Too much mobility from Noble with that Terra's blessing from Wubbin, but finding a kill onto Neilma on the backside. Aquarius just making his presence truly felt.
Weekend cut the dive short.
He just wasn't as quick. That Terra's blessing got everybody out into the safety of that tier 2 tower. We saw the dash from Wubbin, saw the jet stream out of Skilladon. Nowhere to catch them.
Terra ultimate, you know what happened? Weekend went into the ultimate. He went up high. And then he looked for the shots. He went down low. But because of the Terra ultimate, he was too slow.
You're gonna break me too, Tom. Portal Demon, Noble starting it, but it's actually Med Yankee that's in a lot of trouble with the root stealth, finding the ultimate. Aquarius finding Ocean, second death.
Out of control. MLC Wealth on top of this game. Maybe not the player damage, but he's just been so... These team fights are won because MLC is smacking people in the face. Susanoo was able to go ahead and find these early pickoffs out of Tully, but Nox Nox, Nox, Nox.
I mean, so think about it this way in perspective. Nox last pick for Noble, probably the most valuable pick that they have thus far in the second game.
Is it? It's interesting, though, because this is what we're talking about. MLC is just comfortable on this character. This is one of his go-tos. He likes playing this god. He understands that the character is not about laying the trouble puddle and getting the combo all the time. Sometimes you put the silence field down to prevent enemies from walking in or forcing them to walk into it. There's a lot of intricacies with Nox that I feel very few people maintain. MLC and Pretty Prime are probably the only two Nox players that I think play Nox at a level that, well, why didn't they just pick something else? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think other players, when they win with Nox, I go, you could have done that with Ra. You could have done that with Isis. When I watch Pretty Prime, and as we're speaking about MLC, when I watch Mr. Stealth here play Nox, there's a reason why he picks Nox, and he plays it well, and I just sit there and go, well, damn.
Even before, when this character was reworked, Stealth was still picking
He's
Nox.
always loved her.
He really likes this goddess in particular, whether it's just the way she looks or the way she feels. It's just he makes it work. And Noble, they won the first game, their first win in the SPL Summer Split, and they have a decent lead here at the 17-17 mark.
These teams are very similar teams to me, and Flashpoint kind of sits on the outside looking in of the conversation, but has similar effects where Allegiance, I broke it down to the desk earlier today, Allegiance started off as a team with just big names and slowly walked through the mud to find themselves, all right, we'll get a support player. We'll get a mid laner. They slowly find themselves at a team that can compete for the top end. Noble, surprisingly so, are doing that. I did not. And that's on me. Maybe I just didn't have the respect or the I just didn't expect this team to do the same thing. But that's what we're seeing out of Noble. They pick up Skeely, they pick up Aquarius, they picked up MLC a while ago, and Wowie and Wubbin have now surrounded themselves. I think MLC joins that conversation, but Noble is Wowie, Wubbin, and Drelo to me. And slowly they found these other pieces to join the squad, and slowly, Toli, they're becoming a team worth watching.
I think whether or not you're looking at North America or Europe, honestly, any team can take a game off of any other team, honestly, given the day, given the circumstances, the picks and bans, as long as you do your preparation correctly. And Noble have definitely seemed like they've been doing so in this case. We saw Poppies take a game from Rival in the first set of the day, and Noble find their first victory here. The question remains still if they can extend it beyond to get their second one here and start climbing the rankings to try to squeeze their way for that third spot for Valencia.
See, the Poppies were not as much of a surprise to me. I said 60-40
against Rival?
That matchup against Rival. Rival are still working, and Poppies are kind of, you know what I mean? This, I thought Allegiance, after their performance last week, I thought Allegiance was 2-0 in here. Noble, I thought Skeely and Wubbin were going to pick their nose, and Allegiance were going to get 2 wins in 20 minutes each. This is such a pleasant surprise to me.
Whether or not it's Noble playing up or Allegiance playing down.
And I think it's more the former.
I think absolutely. I believe personally here that we're seeing just a new resurgence of Noble, and specifically out of the playmaking from Skeleton to set up his teammates here. This is the Skeleton we saw in Oxygen Supremacy Gauntlet Run, and here just stealth on the Nox.
I feel it's interesting. There's such a revitalization, I feel like, with Noble that I think their minds are in it. And I don't think that ALG are playing down. I don't think that they had a fantastic performance last week and it was a fluke. I think that they're playing fine. Maybe not just as well as they did last week, but they're not playing terribly. It's that Noble have just stepped it up so incredibly well.
And some teams have such a different identity between one opponent or the next. And
That's
sometimes
true.
Allegiance could be preparing for one kind of style, and Noble can throw a wrench at you. And then all of a sudden, like, well, everything that we've done to prepare for this matchup gets thrown out the window, and we're just sitting here.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Noble right now have control of this game by about 5,000 gold. 5 kills as well, 8-3. We're almost 21 minutes into this one. And more importantly, however, Toli, the 8600 experience, I think, needs to be spoken about.
Aquarius, before we speak about that, Aquarius is making the rotation. Noble starting the Gold Fury, and it was stolen.
Take
here.
it away, Allegiance, snatch it, thanks to Neil Ma. MLC makes him pay. But Noble start the Gold Fury, and Neil Ma goes right on in there and gobbles it up.
Worth. We talk about it all the time.
Yes.
Do you sacrifice
Yes.
anybody? Absolutely you do. Noble now extend their advantage here. Despite not getting the Gold Fury, they used this 5-on-4 power play to go for the Portal Demon, and now Allegiance are in this tricky situation where without their support for another 10 seconds, they have to make sure that Noble don't do a sneaky Fire Giant.
Well, Noble just walked away from it, so.
I'm surprised considering Oceans is all the way on the left.
They
and
went for the
Neil
ganks in
dead.
mid lane. Weekend was pushed so far up, killing Weekend might be higher on their checklist than the Fire Giant.
And that's a good idea to keep Weekend in check, because whenever there's a jungler that pushes the mid lane, if you're going to be around that Portal Demon Fire Giant era and then you start it, all of a sudden that wave that jungler just pushed in mid, now he's going to start flanking you on the bottom end while you're getting collapsed in the front, and there's a pincer maneuver that you just don't want to deal with.
And the tier 1 tower falls down. That was Weekend's play in game number 1. He took the tier 1 tower, and yes, 500 gold in juxtaposition to the Fire Giant. Not exactly a win, but you get what you can get, right? So, Noble intelligently taking out the Portal Demon, but I really want to make it known that this is still anybody's game. The wind are in Noble's sails, but at any point in time that could change. It's only a 4,000 gold lead, especially because of Neil's save right there with the Gold Fury steal. Excellent play by Neil Ma.
It's going to be very important for these hyper carries from Med Yankee and Oceans on Allegiance to find the right abilities connected here. That's the very important factor for Allegiance, because the front line will always be there from Allegiance. You got Bologna, you got Camisards that can sustain and then go up to the sky to buy some more time. Neil Mop going in the Draconic form with immunity frames. But can Yankee and Oceans connect on their abilities?
That's the question. Oceans? Met Yankee? The answer is yes for both of them. Can they do it in these team fights when it matters? Is the bigger question here. Oceans has been very consistent in his young SPL career. This is his, sophomore year, his second year here in the SPL, and he's done very, very well. Matt Yankee, after transitioning away from Hunter into the mid lane, did have some struggle steps originally, but now I think he's really found himself, and this Thoth has been more accurate than not.
Allegiance just sentry warding in front of that Fire Giant. The rest of Noble here, they want to find somebody slipping out of position, which is why we see Skeleton hovering between that dual lane, mid lane pressure. Being that way.
Free safety.
Yeah.
He wants to be in both lanes at the same time, essentially. So he's just kind of hanging out in the middle going, all right, look, I'm level 18. I could use some farm, but I'm totally fine. Who shows up first? To the left of the mid lane, and then I'll run in that direction.
Cyclone Spin clearing the wave. Wubbin right around the corner with Aquarius, not connecting on the stun. Not really having to worry about too much damage here against these two tanky targets, but in the mid lane,
I would love,
a little bit of action.
This is when ALG needs to look for a pick, because they realize Cyclone's fighting 1-on-2. So, because it's a 1-on-2, that means they have a 4-on-3, and ALG should commit, but we don't see that. Neil Ma instead jumping to go save his solo laner.
Skeleton taking a little bit of poke alongside Weekend, but Camisards has more sustain, whereas Skeleton has some more mobility. Aquarius taking a bit of poke, this time with Medi Yankee. Terra's Blessing from Wubbin.
I like this almost better, Toli. Not with Noble grouping up here, but ALG, while everybody was doing nothing, Weekend pushes the tier 1 tower.
But the tier 2 from Noble going to get started after the speed buff invade Typhoon, zoning out a couple
Already
of
used.
members. Neil Mont gets rooted into place. Girdle being even popped by all 5 members, and Weekend not wanting to flank quite yet.
That was a great decision by Allegiance.
A
lot of teams spend a lot of time waffling, where you just do that Fire Giant dance we were talking about, a lot of hurry up and wait. And Weekend sat there saying, I will not just sit here. Something has to be done. You're going to watch Cyclone Spin 1v2 forever? He's a Bologna. He's not dying. He's fighting Aquarius. Nobody's dying here. Let's go do something. And he does something. 500 gold for Allegiance.
Great play. Holding on to the tier 2. They get their tier 1 mid Aquarius, though, sits in that solo lane, trying to push up even more waves, forces out the teleport from Cyclone Spin. So, small little victory here if there's going to be some action on the left.
Watch out. Lead's going to get collapsed on here. It's a 4-on-2. Wubbin gets pulled, or excuse me, Weekend gets pulled in, immediately takes to the sky. Meanwhile, Hunter, safe and sound, dealing with those Furies.
Ultimate.
Gets one. Weekend goes down, skilling on with the dash forward.
Nice ultimate from Stealth from a distance, connecting onto Weekend. This is the Stealth that we are expecting to see.
Matt Yankee has ult. Matt Yankee has ult. But he's walking away. He's walking away.
No commitment. Just not taking the potential steal. Final judgment. Now, to be fair, the gold disparity at this point is only about 5,500 after the fact of the Gold Fury. Had Allegiance get the Gold Fury, they cut this 5,500 to about 2,000 or so.
Which is even in my eyes at this point in the game.
That one ultimate from Med Yankee, if it was used, allows Noble to force the issue.
You say that?
Yes.
You say that.
It's a big ultimate.
It's a huge ultimate, but you say that. MLC uses ultimate, you say that. I know. You selling it?
I'm selling it.
I don't know if I'm buying it.
Well,
totally. He's thought that's what he does.
That's true. He should have been in that position, but I could see the mindset as to why he didn't want to. Playing it very carefully. Allegiance, they're just going to be patient enough to allow for Noble to make a slight misstep.
So, was that designed by Noble? Is that the... I always reference the impossible decision. You put your opponent into every... You have two choices and they're both bad. Was that Noble saying, hey, we're going to go for the Gold Fury. Either they steal it and we fight them because Thoth is down, or do they say, well, we just got lucky? Was that designed by Noble?
Well, yeah, Noble designed to bait that out. They got weakened in response with a beautiful ultimate from Nox.
Right.
Now, the secondary attempt here...
That's what I'm talking about.
...for Med Yankee, whether or not they would have committed to a team fight, I'm not sure, but it was a very safe play for a 5-on-4.
Well, this is certainly aggressive. The frenzy means a fight. Shouts to Dry Bear on that one, but... Noble still not able to take the tower just yet. Matt Yankee's gonna fall the back end. MLC Wealth making it count. Number 11 for Noble. Neil Ma gonna eat a lot of the damage, but the tier 2 tower gonna go down for the count. Aquarius as well in trouble on the back end. Weekend picks that one up, but 3 dead on the side of ALG. Totally.
This might be Noble's second victory. Can they end here? I don't know, Tom, but I think they're going to go for the Fire Giant instead. It's only Weekend and Cyclone Spin. The steal potential,
I like that.
Not quite present for Allegiance.
It's not like they have a Thoth ult or anything.
This is the difference between Nox and Thoth here. The damage from Stealth on the Nox is instant. Bang, you fire it, you feel it permanently, instantly, whereas Med Yankee has to charge the ultimate. You hear it coming from a distance, and it's very easy to also disrupt it.
Weekend's in trouble, doesn't have ult. Cyclone Spin does, however. Noble's still gonna commit. They committed last time. Cyclone Spin absolutely can steal this. No burst, MLC has it, but there's the jump in. The Fire Giant goes to Noble. Cyclone too late, and he's gonna walk away. Here comes the jump in. MLC shadowing, jumps outside, able to deal damage. Not enough for Weekend to fall. Bad luck 13 in Noble's kill column, but it's all good luck. At a half hour for NOBLE. They are winning this one hand over fist.
With the FG for another 330, they're able to try to get some more Phoenixes under their belts.
I see you.
I tried. I stretched a little bit too much.
I see you. I don't like it though.
I tried.
We'll me, you and Mask, we'll get some rap circles in later on.
Okay.
Mask is the only one. Mask is the only one. Actually, Wubbin came out last LAN, and Wubbin joined the rap circle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Wubbin joined the rap circle. Yeah.
Did he drop the mic?
He has like a bar or two. Wubbin listens to a lot of hip hop. You can watch him stream on streaming platforms, and so he's got a little bit of a mindset of it. He knows how to throw down the cipher if he needs to.
Okay. I'll be looking out for his new mixtape.
You know who surprised me? Baskin.
I was actually going to say Baskin. I'm like, If it's Young Wooney.
Young Wooney came through. Now, keep in mind, they're all bad, but Wubbin is the best of the worst. Let's put it that way. Baskin came out. Mask is still the #1 in my eyes because he's the only one that went head-to-head with me. Everybody else kind of sits on the outside, so I got to give it up to Mask, but Wubbin certainly can throw it down when he needs to. 30-51 on the clock, 13-4 on the kills, and 77-64 on the gold. Noble looking for their second win in the summer split here. They got their first win 35 minutes ago. They're looking for their second win right now.
Well, with 0 towers remaining, 3 more Phoenixes to go, and 1 Titan between their way to that second victory. Feeling like Noble is on a great path to go towards their first set of the second split.
MLC gets chunked, not if he loses. Cyclone's been on the chase. Gets the stun, but nothing after it. Good defense. Good defense.
I like numbers too, Tom.
Okay.
Numbers are moving forward.
What are you talking? What are you?
I thought we had a numbers thing going over.
No numbers.
Noble
He's a solo laner.
With the Fire Giant for another minute and 20 seconds here. The sustain is there. The damage is there. The girdle is there. Typhoon ripping through the middle. Wild Hunt trying to zone out the Members. Aquarius dunking on Met. Wowie eliminating Weekend. 2 dead on the side of Allegiance.
Weekend trying to jump forward. Neil Ma trying to do the same as well. Skeleton winds up with half a dozen in his kill column. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all she wrote. Noble winds up with the second win in 2 games, their first set win as well.